oh my gosh, it just feels like everything kind of like paused for me in this moment. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Roaming Collective podcast. I am so eternally grateful that you're here. My name is Trisha. I'm a host of the podcast. I'm also the founder of the Roaming Collective, a human design reader, and an intuitive. So today is one of my favorite topics. I love signs and synchronicities. I live for one. They are one of my favorite little happies of life. They bring me so much joy. And today I wanted to share some of the synchronicities that I've had throughout my life and how to find your own signs and synchronicities, because I just think that there is so much going on in the world sometimes, and having these little moments that feel like they're meant for you to help guide you, to help bring you on the right track, they are just exciting. They are fun. Sometimes, yes, some signs cannot be as exciting of what you want to happen, but they just feel like little versions of either, if you believe it's your future self, if you believe in the universe, whatever you believe in, I just feel like that they just feel so encompassing and so warm and inviting. To kick this off, I have a crazy, well, it's not really fully crazy, but it was just like a fun little story that I wanted to share of like how I kind of started to pick more up on some signs. I have always been intuitive. Like I've always been very aware of things, and I think the more I've really honored my gifts, the deeper and the more my intuition really has grown and how much more I trust it, because it's just like a muscle, right? Like it's just like something that you develop over time. And to me, when you're following your intuition, these signs and synchronicities show up even more because you're on your path. You're on your own journey. You're gathering everything that you need to know to fill up your own cup so you can know what I need to fulfill on this journey that I have. So my one that really started to like sink in for like terms of like signs coming through, I was in Sedona for my birthday. This was back a couple years ago. We went on a girls' trip, and we were hiking during the day, and then we decided to go into town that evening. And so we were in town, and my sister was also on the trip, and we decided to go into this aura reader. And we go in, and I honestly wasn't really seeking to get my aura read or anything read. It just kind of happened, and I was like, oh, this is exciting and feels aligned. Like I want to go talk to her. And so we're in there, and we get our pictures taken and everything, and shocking but not shocking, my sister and I, we are very similar aura colors. If you guys notice, we're very much alike. Obviously we have areas that we differ, but it's very funny because we were living together at the time, so it's just so hilarious that we both had the same aura color. But on mine, I had 3 yellow dots by my head. And I asked her, I was like, well, what are these like yellow dots? What do these mean? And she was like, oh, they're your spirit guides. They're here to guide you throughout this time in transition. And during that time, I had a lot of upcoming change. Like I was obviously living with my sister at the time. She was moving to Denver. I was going to be moving into a new apartment, living alone. I was starting a new job. I was in a relationship that I knew wasn't for me. So there was just a lot that was changing that I knew was kind of like under the surface. And so I was like, okay, that's so interesting. And so obviously I got the reading. I didn't really like know too much about it. We didn't really talk like super long about what spirit guides were and all that. So I just was like, okay, great. So I had the recording saved on my phone, and God bless my friends, we were gone for like 2 hours. This woman was just chatting us up. I mean, it was great. Like we got so much information, but yeah, she was just a little chatty Cathy chatting away. And so my dear friends waited a very long time for us, which I feel so grateful that they were hanging around town, and they were like calling us like, are you alive? Like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, it's just a really long horror reading. We listened to the recording and stuff too for a little bit in the car, and we were just like giggling at some of the stuff because we were like, oh my God, this is just like so funny how it feels so resonant. So a couple days later, we're back in Phoenix, and we're at this crystal shop, and my friend's like, oh, pick a crystal for your birthday. And so I just picked a crystal. Like I just slowly went off based on, I really like how this looks. Like I just think it was a cool crystal and I didn't think too much of it. So then when I get home back to Chicago when I was living there, I decided to do a little bit more research about the crystal. And when I was reading about it, it said in every single one of those crystals holds a spirit guide. And I was just like, whoa, like that just felt very synchronistic in the sense of, wow, okay, there was something that I needed to follow with that. And I almost feel like my spirit guides were kind of giving me a nudge of like, hey, we're here, like use us. Like we're happy to help you. We're here to guide you in your journey. Like we are here to support you. So it's almost kind of them being like, please, like we're here. We got to help our girl out. Like let's chat. And so what gets even weirder about this story, a couple years later, like this was a year ago, for my 29th birthday, I decided to go back to Sedona. And so my friend and I we went together. We just did like hiking and stuff. We didn't really do like a full like reading or anything like that. Although we did go to this sound bath place, which was so cool and beautiful in there. And we were the only ones who signed up for a class. We basically got like a free sound bath session and it was just so magical. The woman that we talked to was so sweet. It was great. Anyway, so that was like the only extent of like kind of almost like the sort of sign that happened the last time, right? So like it was like kind of like not as spiritual for this one. And so I'm home back in Austin and I decided I like to re-listen to that recording that I had back around my 26th birthday just to like kind of see what resonates, because every time I listen to it, I always get something new. I feel like something always changes. Something's always like a new piece of information. And so, I mean, again, I also have like like over an hour worth of recording. So there's a lot of information there. So I'm walking back, mind you, I'm back in Austin. This is like 2 or 3 days after I get back from Sedona. I'm going my usual route on my walk that I always do in Austin around my neighborhood. I'm walking on the ground and I get to the part in the recording about the 3 yellow dots and my spirit guides. As I get to this part, I walk on the sidewalk and I see an Uno card and it looks a little like beat up, and I'm going to have to like post the photo somewhere. And it was a yellow 3. And I was like, are you kidding me? I took a photo of it and I just like chuckled. I was like, of course, like, yes, of course they are letting me know that they're still here and they are still listening and they are still tapped in to my journey. And I just thought it was so crazy that as I'm passing through right there, like that was the sign that I got, right? Of like, I hear them listening about my spirit guides and they're like, hey, we're here, we're on the ground. So anyway, so that is just sort of why I love synchronicities. Like, I just feel like they feel so fun. And so here's some even like weirder ones, which you guys, I have started to write down so many of these. There's a time where I was keeping a full list in my notes app because I just had so many. Like there was, especially I think during like a very big time where I think that there was a lot of change happening for me. And I felt like there was a lot of like signs because again, I was like very much being guided to different places, different people, different opportunities, starting my business and all that. So I think that there was a reason for why I was very much getting a lot of signs, but I feel like there was just one, I felt like every single day or like at least a couple a week that were happening. And so I was keeping a list of them because there's just so many. And here's what is really fun. So when you start tapping more into your intuition and when you're like in alignment with things and you're more aware, weird things in your external world just start circulating. So for those of my girls and guys, anyone who watches The Summer I Turned Pretty, I know it's more like it was a girl show of the summer. So I started watching the show season 2, the year that came out. So I forget, it was like maybe 2023 that summer. And so I had binged it and then the new season was starting. And during that time, I was also kind of like, okay, I'm ready to like move and all of that. North Carolina was on my list. And so I really wanted to go to the beach. And so my sweet parents, I was like, hey, can we go to Wilmington in North Carolina, so we can go to the beach, have a beach vacation, and then, I can kind of like check out North Carolina. And they're like, oh yeah, absolutely. So they were so sweet. They drove to North Carolina because it's not super far from Ohio. And so they met me. And so we stayed in Wilmington and we had stayed at this Airbnb and it was super cute. I remember loving it. And Then that whole trip, I was like making them go to places for the Summer Turn Pretty filming locations. I'm like, oh my God, we have to go to this spot on the beach because that is where Conrad and Belly kissed. I'm like, we have to go to this spot because this is where like Belly and Jeremiah ran and everything. And so I was like, trying to see like some of the filming locations that we could just go to, which again, it was not like out of the way. It was more so just like, we're over here in this area. I want to go see it. So they were very patient with me of like talking about the show and just all about it. Okay, so mind you, this was summer of 2023, okay? And so this was as season 2 was coming out. And that was also, I think, around the summer of the writer's strike and everything that was going on too. So fast forward to now, this past summer, and I'm watching the new season and I'm sitting and all of a sudden I'm like, sitting there and I'm like watching. It was not until episode 10 and I was like sitting there like, why is Conrad's apartment that they have, why does it look so familiar? I'm like, that door color, the way that the kitchen looks, like I think I've been there. And I pulled up my phone and you guys, I have chills right now talking about it. That is the exact same Airbnb my family stayed at that summer. So a year before they filmed the new season, I stayed in that exact same Airbnb. Like the room where Conrad is folding clothes is where I slept. Like in that room, that bed, everything. And I was like, that is so wild. Like that they chose the exact same Airbnb that I had chose a year earlier. And the fact that they like, you choose it to filming and everything. I know that it was based in Wilmington, but the fact that like, I know Wilmington's not huge, but like the fact that they chose the exact same Airbnb is so crazy, you guys. Like, how freaking wild that like a year later is where they're filming that show. And how could I, like, I was there. There's no way I could have known that they would have chosen that Airbnb, right? Like it wasn't in the past seasons. This was like meant to be his like apartment place in California. And so it was wild and it gets even wilder. So around this time of the show, season 3, I am watching and on my TikTok and I see that like I know he was going on the Quinn thing or something. I didn't really like go full deep into it, but I just was seeing TikToks around it. And I saw that he like the girl who's like posting a lot about Chris Briney. I know obviously since like you're on like the Summer Turn Pretty TikTok, then like obviously you'll get like all the other content. And so since like obviously Chris Briney was like on a lot of my stuff, the actor who plays Conrad, he was on a lot of my feed for that time because it was like prime, the Summer Turn Pretty. And I see that this girl is like posting about Quinn. And then I like notice, I'm like, why does this also look familiar? And I go in and she lives in my old apartment building in Austin. So the girl who like, I don't know if she's running the social media for Quinn or like what is, I'm not really sure, but I know she's like posting a lot on the TikTok on the Quinn. Obviously she works for them. I was like, this is wild. Like the fact that like, okay, not even that we lived at, that I was at the same Airbnb, but the fact that this girl who's posting about the Summer Turn Pretty and Chris Briney and like the Quinn app and everything is literally in Austin and is literally living at the old building I used to live in. And again, same thing. I know Austin isn't huge, but there are a lot of apartment complexes. So how wild that happened. And so I don't know. I don't know what that little sign synchronicity is supposed to mean. All I know is that if I'm meant to meet Chris Briney, I will be meant to meet him. And we're obviously kind of circling in the same sphere. Or if I'm meant to meet Lola Tung or any of them, love them. So how crazy though that like when you're kind of like in that like intuition state and then these like synchronicities happen, oh, you guys see, like I just love it. It's so much fun. And then another recent one that happened. So for my birthday this past year, when I turned 30, I always had a goal that I wanted to go to Europe by the time I turned 30. I was like, okay, I want to go to Europe. This is on my list of places. And back in June of like 2025, I was telling my friends when I was visiting Chicago, I was like, you guys, I think I need to like go to Paris. We were at this store in Chicago and I just kept seeing like a lot of Paris stuff. And I was just like, okay, this is like, again, kind of getting my wheels turning where like, I think I need to go there. And so I told them, I was like, I think I need to go by the time I turn 30. I've been dying to go to Europe. Like, I think this is the time. And they're like, yeah, girl, I'll do it. Like, they're so supportive. Fast forward to like August, I bought my tickets and I had heard that Austin does direct flights to London. So I was like, perfect. I'm going to do a direct to London and then we'll go take the train over to Paris and then, figure out all the logistics of the train. But I was like, as long as I can have a direct flight, I would choose that over everything else. So I had bought these flights and we go to Paris, we go to Europe, We do the Eurostar, so we take the train to Paris, we're in London, everything. It was so magical. It was so much fun. And honestly, I feel like I was so surprised at how much I loved London. Like when I first bought all the flights and everything, I was so excited for Paris. But then all of a sudden before I was leaving, I was feeling so drawn to London, and I just was like, okay, I feel like maybe there's something for London. So who knows in the future. As you guys know, Olivia Rodrigo just recently came out with her new song, and she had a part of her song that was like the Eurostar version, and it was her going from London to Paris, and it looked like she filmed right around the exact same time that I was there for my birthday. And I was like, of course. She's also a Pisces. Obviously, we're both very intuitive, and by the way, anyone can be intuitive, anyone has this gift, but it just made me chuckle because I was just like, of course, like, yes, we're already sort of on the same track with that. We were both picking up some energy to go there around late February. So I, again, love these signs of synchronicities. Like, I think that they are just so magical and they're so serendipitous when they happen that you almost take a pause. And I think that it just kind of shows how fun and whimsical life can be. Like, if there's one thing you can take away from this, I think that having these synchronicities is where the whimsy lies in our life. Like, this is where you can have so much whimsical and just be able to have fun, to like have these little moments where you're just like, oh my gosh, it just feels like everything kind of like paused for me in this moment. Or there's just like something that you're just like, I know I'm already on the right path, but this is just kind of confirmation for it. And they just feel like they're, you know how like when you get deja vu, when you're like, oh, I've seen this before, I recognize this before. I feel like it's almost kind of a form of deja vu where you're like, okay, I feel like I've kind of like had this little moment where I recognize it and now I get it. So another one, this is the last one about celebrities, because I feel like I've had so many weird sort of like, not really directly celebrities, but just again, like kind of like in a weird orbiting sense. I love the singer Lorde. I have followed her music since I was in high school, and I have never seen her perform. And she was coming to Austin, and this was like the first kickoff of her new tour. And so that day, I bought tickets that morning, and I was just like, screw it, I'm just gonna go. Like, I have been wanting to do this. Tickets are like reasonably they're fine, like they're good price, and I was like, I'm just gonna go. And so usually, which I think I'm gonna do like a separate episode on like how to do activities alone, or just how to like sign up for things. It's like once you get comfortable doing it, then you're just like, nothing's holding me back. I don't need to wait for people. If I want to do something, I'm doing something. This is the first time I've kind of gone to like a concert alone, but I was like, whatever, I'll be fine. So I go to the concert, I'm in the seat, and so I'm sitting up kind of high up, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like it's fine. It's all good because I'm here. And I was sitting there, and for some reason I was just like, wouldn't that be kind of wild if I'm like down on the floor? And there was just some synchronicity of things that happened, that I got a wristband and I got to go on the floor. And as I was down there, I was like, how wild that I'm all the way up there, and then now I'm down here, and I'm like literally so close to Lorde, and I get to see her perform. And so as I'm watching her perform one of her songs, she actually walks out into the crowd. And so she starts walking, and somehow I see like a line of tape that was going through. And so I just like kind of went over by there. She walks so close to me. I was like one person behind. I obviously wouldn't do this. So I could have like reached out and touched her, right? But she was like walking through. And I was just like, the synchronicity, the chain of events from being so high up in the seats to then I'm on the floor to then I'm like, I can almost touch Lorde. Like, what? It was just so crazy too. It was just so magical. I was so eternally grateful for that experience because I, again, love her music. I resonate with her so much. And it was just so perfect that I was able to see her live and to do that. But that wouldn't have happened if I didn't follow my intuition, and if I didn't follow that morning of feeling like I really need to go do this for some reason. Like, I'm feeling like I need to go to this concert. And so this is just a little information for you that your intuition is always guiding you to different places. And this is also just little fun, magical things that can just happen when you're not even trying. Like, when it's just these things that you can't even plan, and they just feel like life is just unfolding for you, because it is. Life is unfolding for you. Everything is happening for you and is happening at the most exact, perfect, divine timing. So how do you bring more of these little synchronicities into your life? So for me, I think the biggest thing is number one, awareness. So I think being more aware within your life, within your surroundings, just feeling like you are very present, because you have to see these synchronicities and signs when you are present in the moment. If you don't, they'll just pass by. So try to really be in the moment, really soak everything in, take everything in the minute that you're in, and really just have awareness. And I think another thing, second thing, is whatever you believe in. If you believe in God, universe, angels, guides, whatever, your higher self, it doesn't matter. Whatever you believe in, use that. You could always be like, hey, I'm needing a sign right now. Can you give me a sign? Can I have a synchronicity? Can I have something that just shows me I'm on the right track, or whatever you feel like you're going through? And start something that's like small. It doesn't have to be something that's like crazy. You just be like, okay, I'm making a decision around if, if I should say this one thing to this person, right? And then you could always say, okay, if you give me a sign with a certain word, a certain object, or something like that, then I know that I'm meant for this. Once you start to get more of those signs, and you'll know, like, here's how you know it's a sign for you, because it feels like almost like your body's activated, but not in a scary way, not in a way that feels like your nervous system's activated. I feel like something in this message is resonating with me. Almost like I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel like excited, like I feel like things are bubbling up for me. That is how you know a sign or a synchronicity is for you, because it feels very like the world takes a pause for just a split second, and you're like, I think I need to pay attention to this. Like, I think I need to honor and to listen to what is coming through in this exact moment right now. So when you're like more in your present moment and you're talking to your angels, guides, whatever you want to talk to, then you start to pick up on some of these themes, right? So you can start to see like, okay, I have a lot of synchronicities in this area, or I have a lot of signs in this area. And sometimes they might not be like sometimes there's not really a thread. Sometimes they're just like happening, which is so fun too. I love the spontaneity of it. I think the more that you trust that, and the more you honor that, and the more you work with it, the more you'll be getting a lot of these, and the more you'll feel more in tune, because you're moving through in a pace that feels like it's less friction. You feel like you're less like coming up against stuff. You're less like trying to force things. Like, you're more just allowing it and letting things unfold. The fact that there's no way that I could have planned all this stuff, it's just I'm allowing it to unfold. So I always say, personally, I have a lot more of that yang heat energy in my body in Chinese medicine terms, as I work with my acupuncturist. And so what that means is a lot of that like masculine energy, where sometimes it can be a lot of like action, doing, going, that great momentum, right? And then we have the yin side. That's more of our receptivity. It's more of our feminine side. It's more of our letting things flow, letting things kind of like come into fruition, resting, rejuvenating, like, just a lot like of receiving mode, right? Obviously you have to take action in your life, right? Like, of course there's a balance between the two. I notice when I take more of that aligned type action, then the yin, I feel like, is more receiving mode, where I'm feeling more honored because I'm going in a place that I know is like aligned. And then these like little, like, because I'm in my feminine energy, and every single person has both. So it's not just focused on your gender. It is in general, your energy. You have yin, you have yang, you have feminine, you have masculine. It is just a way that we move through things, right? It's just more so like a way that we put terminology around some of our energy, some of how we do things, how we go, how we rest, all that. And so when you're in more of that receiving mode, sometimes some of these little synchronicities will come in. And sometimes you could be out doing stuff and then it just comes through, you don't even know that's going to happen. These little sign synchronicities are, again, just so much fun. And you can start keeping track. If you just want to start like writing in your notes app, or just to make like little notes of like, oh, I saw this today and like this made me think of this. And then sometimes, especially if you're feeling like you're in a season of an in-between, if you're feeling like you're in a season of needing a little bit more support, and you're like, okay, I feel like I need some of these signs right now because I am feeling a little like I need some guidance right now, then that is where I especially think when you write some of this stuff down, you could just, and again, you could just keep it in a notes app. You don't have to do anything that's like super crazy. When you start to see like, okay, I'm starting to get a lot of signs in this area, I'm starting to get a lot of signs in this area, then that is when you know, okay, this is what I need to pay attention to. Maybe this is where I'm being guided to go through with. So that's especially a good recommendation if you are trying to figure out some of what are these signs trying to tell me? Why am I having some of these synchronicities? And again, sometimes there might not always be a rhyme and reason. Sometimes they're just fun. Sometimes they're just little, things that we have happen in our life to make it a little bit more magical, to make it a little bit more whimsical, to have more of these little things that come through for us because we are alive, and guess what? We're all connected. We are all so connected. And so when you start tapping more into that, then more of this connection and more of these will start to flourish and more of it will start to come through. So this is just a little fun episode I wanted to have today about science synchronicities, how to pick up on them, how to look out for them. Because again, I feel like this has brought so much joy and just magic into my life. And I really want others to also have that sort of magic and fun and just like things that you could just look forward to. And things that can happen in your daily life. Like you could go in at any moment. It doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, I'm on edge. No. Live your life, be in the present moment and let things unfold and let them surprise you because there's so many surprises waiting in store for you. If you want to do a little bit more about some of like your energy type and maybe how to maybe like be more present with things and how to let things more flow. I am a certified human design reader and I did an episode on human design, so you could always go back and listen if you want a little bit more context. But human design is so involved and it's essentially how your energy moves through the world. And when you have more lens and more frame around it, it feels so much easier to be moving through life. It feels like it's less friction, less pushing up against things. And when you have more of that framework of like, oh, this is how I move through things, and things just start to align and flow a lot more easily. So, and again, I always like to say I give so many examples as I'm giving readings because I like to have them be very like embodied. And I have another offering where if you want to have more like an in-depth where we go like way more deep into your chart, and we'll do some follow-up conversations. So we could always add this to the agenda. If you want to add more of this like fun and synchronicity and signs into your life, we could always explore that too. So just know that I'm here and I am just giving you some things if you want to take with it. Great, whatever resonates, work with it. If not, it's not for you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening today. And I appreciate you guys so much. And I'm sending so much abundance and so many fun sign synchronicities into your daily life too.